Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach, or how we say it this time of year, Chag Kasher V'Sameach, special greeting for Pesach. I hope everyone had a wonderful one or two Seders. It was very nice here. And here we are on Shabbat Chol HaMoed Pesach, the Shabbat in between the first and last parts of Passover. So, welcome. The service is a little bit different for Shabbat Chol HaMoed. We actually will start this evening with Psalm 92 rather than go through Kabbalat Shabbat. So we are praying out of Sidor Lev Shalem, which is downloadable as a PDF file from our synagogue's website. And we begin on page 27, if you would join me responsively. It is good to thank you, Adonai, and sing to your name most high, to proclaim your love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night. Finger the lute, pluck the harp, let the sound of the lyre rise up. You glad me with your deeds, Adonai, and I shall sing of your handiwork. How wonderful are your works, Adonai, how subtle your designs. The arrogant do not understand, the fool does not comprehend this. The wicked flourish like grass, and every evildoer blossoms only to be destroyed forever. But you, Adonai, are exalted for all time. Surely your enemies, Adonai, surely your enemies will perish. All who commit evil will be scattered. As a wild bull raises up its horn, you raised my head high, anointed it with fresh oil. As my enemies gather against me, my gaze remains steady, for my ears listen and hear. The righteous flourish like the date palm, thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they flourish in our God's courtyards. In old age they remain fruitful, still fresh and bountiful, proclaiming Adonai is upright, my rock in whom there is no flaw. Tzadik tamar yifrach ki erez balvanon yiske shetulim bevet Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu od yenuvun beseva deshenim verananim yeyu lehagid ki yashar Adonai tzuri V'lo avlatabo. Page 29, Psalm 93. Adonai is sovereign, robed in splendor, girded in strength. The earth stands firm, not to be dislodged. From earliest time you are enthroned, you are eternal. The rivers rise up, Adonai. The rivers raise up their roar. The rivers raise up their waves. Above the roar of the vast sea and the majestic breakers of the ocean, Adonai stands supreme in the heavens. In your house, beautiful in its holiness, your testimonies endure, Adonai, for all time. And we will continue directly with Ma'ariv. Please turn to page 39a. And rise if you are able for the Baruch Hu, the call to worship. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. You may be seated. Baruch et Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's division, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light to wait before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night. Adonai Tzavot is your name, living and ever-present God. May your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch atah Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk. O Mahavir Yom Umevi Laila Mavdil Ben Yom Uvein Laila Adonai Tzavot Shemo El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Olam V'Oed Baruch atah Adonai Hamavi B'Agavim, page 40. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amchavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadta al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachvenu v'kumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha Leolam voed ki em chayenu v'orech yameinu uvahem manege yomam v'layla v'vatachat tasim imenu la'olamim baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ho'ele Asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinanatam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech v'shachpecha v'kumecha ukshartam liot al yadecha v'hayu latotofot b'neinecha uchtabtam nam zuzot beitecha Uvisharecha v'hayaim shamoa tishma'u el mitzvotai. Vayomer Adonai Moshe lemor daber el bnei Yisrael v'yamarta v'leihem v'yasu leihem tzitzit al kanfei v'gdehem ledoratam v'natnu al tzitzit akana petil techelet v'hayalachem letzitzit oritem oto uschartem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otam V'lo tatu acharei levavchem v'acharei nechem asher tem zonim achareihem leman dizgaru v'azitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kadoshim leloechem ani Adonai Eloechem asher hotziti etechem eretz Mitzrayim liot lechem leElohim ani Adonai Eloechem Adonai Elohechem Emet, page 43a. This is our enduring affirmation binding on us that Adonai is our God and there is none other. And we, Israel, are God's people. God is our sovereign, redeeming us from earthly rulers, delivering us from the hand of all tyrants, bringing judgment upon our oppressors and just retribution upon all our mortal enemies, performing wonders beyond understanding and marvels beyond all reckoning. God places us among the living, not allowing our steps to falter, and leads us past the false altars of our enemies, exalting us above all those who hate us. Adonai avenged us with miracles before Pharaoh offered signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. God brought Israel from its midst to lasting freedom and led them through the divided waters of the Sea of Reeds. As their pursuers and enemies drowned in the depths, God's children beheld the power of the divine. They praised and acknowledged God's name. Page 44. ומלכותו ברצון קיבליה משה ובני ישראל חנישירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדור בקודש נורא תהילות עושה פלא מלכותך ובניך בוקיים לפני משה זה לי ענו ויאמרו Adonai yimloch leolam voed v'nehemar kifada Adonai et Yaakov ugalod miat chazak mimenu baruch et Adonai ga'al Yisrael. Page 45. Ashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Ve'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim Ufaros aleinu sukat shalomecha V'tagnenu b'yetzat tova milfanecha V'hoshienu Laman shemecha again badenu Ushmatzetenu vein l'chaim u'shlam yatav yadalam U'foselenu sukat shlomecha baruch Adonai Apochet sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. We rise, page 46. Vayadaber Moshe et Moed Adonai el b'nei Yisrael. And we continue with the Friday night Amidah. Actually, that is not correct. It is the festival Amidah. And hang on 1 second. I am still getting used to this. I apologize. Okay. Shabbat Amidah is on page 55, if I'm not mistaken. Nope, I am mistaken. The regular Shabbat, because it's Chol HaMoed Pesach, sorry. Got myself confused. Pages 47 through 52. Marita Tov. Again, the service for Chol HaMoed Pesach is a little bit different than a normal Shabbat. We don't do Kabbalat Shabbat. So we had services the last 2 days, the last 2 mornings, and I said that I would talk a little bit tonight about why we have the prevalence of the number 4 at the Seder. For those that actually open the Seder and ponder its depths, you will notice that 4 comes up an awful lot. Okay, looks like our Facebook feed has ended. Okay, well, hopefully those that are on YouTube are still with us. I'm not sure what exactly happened there. If you are on YouTube, could you let me know whether we are still live or not? Yep, Facebook is down. Don't think it was us. So, getting back to this, we start telling the story 4 times before we actually get going. And we transform the 3 matzot into 4 at Yachatz. When we, remember, we start with 3 matzot. Good. We start with 3 matzot, and we take the middle matzah, we break it in 2, and that becomes another 4. So the typical explanation is the number 4 represents the 4 verbs of redemption used in Exodus chapter 6, verses 6 through 8. And I'm just going to briefly go over them, so in case this is all new information to you. Lachein emor livnei Yisrael ani Adonai. Therefore say to the people of Israel, I am the Lord. V'hotzeiti etechem mitachat sivlot Mitzrayim. V'hotzeiti, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. That's number 1, v'hotzeiti, and I will bring you. And then it says, v'hitzalti etechem me'avodatam, and I will rid you from their slavery, or I will save you from the slavery. V'hitzalti, that's number 2. And then it says, v'ga'alti etechem b'zro netuya v'shvatim gedolim, and I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with great judgments. V'ga'alti is number 3. And the last one, v'lakachti etchem li la'am, and I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you for a God, and you shall know that I am the Lord your God who brings you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. 4 expressions of redemption. V'hotzeiti, and I will bring you. V'hitzalti, and I will rid you or save you. V'ga'alti, and I will redeem you. V'lakachti, and I will take you to me. The secret of 4s in Haggadah is that each symbol or motif is transformed from a symbol of slavery into a symbol of freedom in 4 steps. For example, matzah starts out as a symbol of slavery, the lechem oni, the poor person's bread. Then it becomes a symbol of redemption from Egypt. When we get to matzah, zo al shuma, for what reason do we eat matzah? Because our ancestors didn't have time to let the dough rise. Then it becomes the bread of freedom that we ate when the temple was standing, the Hillel sandwich. And finally, it is the afikomen, the hidden part, the missing piece that becomes the whole. the invisible, which is greater than what's visible. This is the bread we eat when the Messiah comes. As we transform the meaning of matzah, we move it and ourselves from slavery to freedom. Of course, matzah means all of these things, but by putting them in a specific order, we create a transformation. That's the real secret of the Seder. That's why it's called Seder, which means order. This principle also applies the 4 times we quote the verse, because of this which Adonai did for me in taking me from Egypt. Here are the times where it's quoted. The reprimand, the wicked child, to open up to the child that does not know how to ask, to explain why we tell the story at night on the full moon, to embrace the idea that we ourselves left Egypt. At first, the verse is used to exclude others, but by the end, we use it to fully include ourselves. The one who is transformed is the teacher. Another less obvious meaning of one of the 4s of the Haggadah, we usually think that the 4 children are in some kind of decreasing order of virtue or intellect, with the wise one being the best. But it can actually be seen as the opposite. The wise one is at the bottom, unable to penetrate the meaning because he cannot see more than the rules. The response he gets, explain to him the laws until we don't add after the Pesach offering an afikomen, represents an acceptance of the fact that this one is not ready to reach towards redemption. The wicked one has entered the gates, understanding that service must mean something more, that he is too full of ego to easily partake. The simple one and the one who doesn't know how to ask have reached higher states, and one might even say that the one who doesn't know how to ask is closest to enlightenment and redemption. But each of these is no more than a symbol for who we are at different times, If we truly reach the level of in every generation, one must see himself as if he or she left Egypt, which comes when all 4 children, in other words, all parts of ourselves, are brought together into the experience. Then we have attained the purpose of the Seder. Shabbat Shalom. Chag Kasher v'Sameach. We will now turn to page 63. As we start the countdown, or the count up to the next holiday of Shavuot, which is 50 days, 7 weeks of 7 days plus 1 after the second Seder. So on 63, we count the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedushan mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat Omer. Baruch atah Adonai, our God of sovereign time and space, who has provided us with a path of holiness through the observance of mitzvot, and has instructed us to count the Omer. Hayom Shnei Yamim LaOmer. Today is 2 days of the Omer. We will now turn back in our Siddur as the Ark is opened for Aleinu, page 56. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומשה יקרא בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגבי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, עמד מלכנו וזולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשיבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא אלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד כן גדול בתורתך, אדוני מלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. You may be seated. This week we will observe yard sites for Herman Axelrod, Miriam Cohen, Ella Keller, Rosalind Blitz-Schulwolf, Morris Cahan, Barry Roseman, Fanny Schulman, Manasseh Mandelbaum, Kate Sachs, Murray J. Wheel, Hilda Empel, and Eleanor Hassan. Those observing yard site and those who mourn, please rise and join me, page 58, for the Kaddish Tome, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemeh rabah, v'yomad ivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayeh d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agalav izman kariv v'yimaru amen, yehei shmei rabah mevarach le'elam olmei maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitchomam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudisha barichu, Leilam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran v'yoma v'yimaru amen, yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. Oseh shalom b'mirmav, uyaseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. You may be seated. Thank you for joining me for this rather brief service tonight. That's, I think, for those that designed Jewish holidays, I think the real point of having these evening services for the holidays is to get us home so we can be eating with our families. So I think it's brilliant. Tomorrow morning we will continue with Shabbat Chol HaMoed Pesach services at 9:30 a.m. Tomorrow evening, the Alabama Community Virtual Havdalah will meet via Zoom as we celebrate the end of Shabbat together in music and fellowship. And with that, we'll go ahead and conclude our service, page 211, with Adon Olam. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'ed nasa v'chefso kol azai melech shemo nikra azai melech shemo nikra v'yacharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora והוא היה והוא ההווה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא אחד ואין שני, לעם שלו להכבירה, בלי ראשית, בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה, ולא העוז והמשרה, והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצור חבלי ביצרה, ואם רוחי גוויעתי, אדוני לי ולא אירא, אדוני לי ולא אירא. חג שמח, Shabbat Shalom. See you tomorrow morning.